Hey folks, Kevin here. Well, it's September 15th, 2025. Good Lord only knows what I'll do today. Uh, One of the things I want to do first off is come out and what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove the nuts and washers. I just removed them from this one here. And I'm going to cut these off. Now I'm going to use an abrasive grinding wheel to do that. It's not my preferred method. I'd much rather be using a metal cutting metal blade, or be using the bandsaw, but we just don't have access to those right now. My bandsaw's damaged from the event, and I don't have any more of my my metal cutting blades to do that. So I'm going to go down and see if I can get rid of these ones here. These are 1/2-inch anchor bolts, and I prefer the 5/8 inch, which we've got here. And see, I'll come around and remove the nuts and washers all the way around, cut these off. And this one probably isn't tall enough. They just put a single bottom sill here when they did it, so 1.5 inches above this and just a little bit. So, and I prefer 2 bottom plates, a pressure treated one with a vapor barrier and insulation below it, and then a standard spruce fir bottom plate on top of that. That's why I put these in the taller bolts here, anchor bolts. So that's what I'm going to do right now. There's fruit to be picked. Aaron, the public adjuster, is going to come by today. He's going to take some pictures, help me out with some of the the BCS tractor and all, which I've been battling with various adjusters from the company, sending them pictures, multiple times, and just really frustrating. So Aaron's going to come over today, and I'm going to talk to him about a couple other things regarding the insurance as well. I'm going to come around and get these out of here first. Hopefully this goes smooth. I don't like using a single goose taken off. They're all over here. They're all back now, all the geese, all the families. They're getting ready for the big migration. I don't like using the abrasive cutting discs, and the reason is, once they've had moisture get into them, they're more prone to just shattering and breaking. So I'm going to be putting my welding jacket on and some of my welding gloves to do this as well, just in case this thing just disintegrates. You just got to take it very slowly when we're doing this. So anyways, that's what I'm going to get started with now. We'll see what comes next. Okay, so one of the things I want to do now, I got all of the bolts. I removed the nuts and washers from the previous 1/2-inch anchor bolts that were all the way around. Let's have a look at things here. So here you can see I cut off one of the 1/2-inch bolts there. I've got a 5/8 inch next to it there. Now there are some places that I've still got to clean up with a masonry blade to come over here and knock off some of these, or the chisel, just to come around and knock off some of the higher spots. When I shot the block wall before, when I say I shot, I'll show you what I mean in just a moment. I could see that the blocks weren't completely level, not completely square, but they are parallel to each other and all, so we can work with that. And then I made the forms to pour these. I had finish nails in the sides of the form, so you can see here's the edge of one of the finishing nails that I determined that was the laser level height of that block wall, so that I'd pour the concrete to bring up to that level. You can see I was a little bit above the nail level here at all. So the thing to do next is to go ahead and reshoot, find out what the height difference is, because that's going to affect the top plate of the walls, which the trusses will sit on. And so we want to make sure that we're as close to perfectly level as possible. And we didn't start off with things being perfectly level, and I had to replace blocks and all that, and pour these bases here and all. So what am I going to use? I'm going to use so this is a self-leveling rotary laser level. And so what happens is if you put it on a tripod or you put it on a relatively level surface, it will automatically self-level itself when you turn it on. And that will send out either through prismatic either through a split beam prism. Boy, it's been years since. It'll send out a completely continuous laser beam all the way around 360 degrees around. And it's daytime now and you can't really see the beam. So we have a receiver here, and so this is the Topcon receiver that it has a sensor. It has a sensor right here, and this is the indicator telling you whether you're up or down based on it. And I just have it on a pole here that I can adjust things to. I went through and adjusted it a couple of minutes ago, but I'll show you how it's going to work here. Hope this is going to work. I don't know how valuable this will be. So I'm just going to turn the unit on. So you probably can't hear it, but it has just went ahead and turned itself on, and you could see the prism rotating around 360 degrees. So it's sending out a beam all the way around here. And if it were nighttime, you'd see the line going across my waistline here. So now I'm going to turn this on. So this is the receiver. And I'm going to turn this button here on, which will say it wants to detect a beam if it hits here. So I'm not sure if you can see the arrows there. So the slow beeps mean we're too low. We need to raise it up some. And if you hear the rapid beeps, that means we're too high. We have to lower it some. And when it's perfect, it'll be a steady beam. So we'll go over and we'll see just how bad we are. There is a level on the top of this, so you can get yourself pretty much accurate. This is really good for digging foundations, digging a base for things. So that's telling us, because it's a rapid beat, that we want it to go down some. So I'm just going to lean the pole forward a little bit, and now you see the angle that the pole is on. So that's not bad at all right there. Now it's saying it's there, it's dead on. When you hear that solid beam, and then you look, you want to see where your bubble is. See if I can get that correct there. So you can see, I don't know, we're probably 1/16 of an inch too tall here. We'll just work our way around. So it's saying it's too low now. The beeps are slow. So I lift the pole up a little bit. So I could be 1/8 to 3/16 of an inch off there. If I put it on top of the little splatter here, so maybe you could see down there at the base. I can't hold this and get down there at the same time. So it's saying it's a little bit too low here. And so you have to find a reference point that really fits. It says it's a little bit too low here. Come down to this, a little bit too low there. A little bit too low there. Tiny bit too low there. If I go up maybe 1/8 or 3/16 of an inch, it seems to be just fine. So again, the laser, the rotary laser is over there, and I just walk my way around. Maybe as much as 1/4 of an inch there. Maybe 1/4 of an inch there. Maybe 1/8 to 3/16 of an inch there. Same deal. probably a quarter of an inch there. Dead on right there. Dead on right there. So these come in real handy when you're trying to see where where the levels are, especially if there's a big slope to the land. That's pretty darn close there. Man, probably a 1/16 of an inch there. A little bit too high here. So this is the one I ran into trouble and I got it too high. I was pouring it. No. Geez, that's only about a 1/8 of an inch off there. Maybe 3/16 there. So now we're about a 1/16 or an 1/8 of an inch too tall. Now we should be getting too tall here. Yeah, we're probably a good quarter of an inch off there. This is where I was worried about being, oh, probably. Wow, that's pretty darn good. Better than I thought it was. And of course, it's all dependent on where you zero it out at, wherever you start at. So it says it's too high. I'm sorry, we're too low. So we're probably a quarter of an inch off there. Same here. Same here. So maybe this whole wall is about a quarter of an inch off. Yeah. Those are all about the same. Same. Yep. So when I went by the blocks that were existing here, when I replaced all the extra blocks, I just kept it all the same level. So it's all the same level there. But I think we're about a quarter of an inch off in total, up or down. Let me just go ahead. So now I'm just going to go ahead and hit the green button to turn it off here. Hit the green button here to turn it off here. So now it's off. And you always want to take your batteries out of these if you're not going to use it for a while. Now I'll be using this at different times, and I use other lasers to shoot a level line at different times, and maybe I'll show that when I'm doing some of the construction work around here and all. So the foundation that these walls are going to sit on could be a completely quarter of an inch off. Now, in some places it might be a quarter, maybe 3/16 of an inch too short, and maybe a quarter of an inch too high. And I don't know what, you know, I mean, this was off when it was built before. And, you know, we used to do everything with strings years ago. Didn't have the lasers at all. And these things have always been expensive, no matter. And so my Bosch one that I got years ago, that one got destroyed in the collapse of the building. So many of my pieces of equipment got soaking wet and damaged. So it's completely inaccurate. But these tools really do help you. Now here, things, you know, we already have a floor that's poured. But like when I did the greenhouse over there, you know, when you're excavating out, you may only be down 6 inches on one side of the building and be down 3 feet on the other side of the building, which is really hard to say where level is when you're doing it. And that's why a tool like this is so essential. So I thought I'd just share this. You know, this one works really, really well. I have other lasers that I'll probably show in the future when I'm, you know, ones that just don't shoot this way, they'll shoot vertical and all, and we can find a spot and we could shoot off vertical, horizontal, and one other way as well. I can't think of it. And I have one that you can actually set, so you can set it on an angle, so if you wanted to do a staircase, you could see just where each tread should be as well. So, you know, I'm not an expert in this area, but these tools really make life a lot easier. They're expensive, but it makes life a lot easier when you're working by yourself and you're doing things. It's always best if you got someone else to carry the pole. So if I'm digging a trench and I want to keep the base of the trench level, it's great to have someone, as I'm working on the excavator, that can come over and put that down into the hole and say, oh, you got to go down a couple more inches. Oh, you're going too deep. So anyways, that's that. And I'm going to move on to the next thing.
In a nation divided, where tempers run high, we slang bitter words, let the truth pass us by. Another life falls, some cheer in the fray, but hate in our hearts only leads us astray. We've got to pause, let the silence take hold, taste every word, let our stories unfold. The noise of the crowd tries to drown out the light, but calm hearts will find what is true and what's right. Stop and listen, hear the soul of our land. Speak with care, take a moment to stand. If they shout and they scream, let their anger subside. We'll know who to trust when the truth's on our side. The whispers of change stir the young and the bold. Some chase old dreams, some chase systems retold, but shouting and rage only fracture the ties. We need open ears, not just fire in our eyes. Let's sit at the table, no need to compete. Choose words that unite, not ignite or defeat. If they roar to control, let their voices burn out. We'll walk away strong, free from fear and from doubt. Stop and listen, hear the soul of our land. Speak with care, take a moment to stand. If they shout and they scream, subside. We'll know who to trust when the truth's on our side. No more cheering for pain, no more fueling the fight. Let's taste every word in the calm of the night. When the loud try to break us, we'll know they're not worth the effort it takes to rebuild from this earth. Our nation survived through the trials of old, but unity's forged when our hearts aren't cold. So listen with kindness, let wisdom take flight. Together we'll heal in the soft morning light. Stop and listen, hear the soul of our land. Speak with care, take a moment to stand. If they shout and they scream, let their anger subside. We'll know who to trust when the truth's on our side. So let's mend the cracks with our words soft and clear. Build a future where love overcomes fear. No war in our hearts, just a chance to begin. A nation united where all souls can win.
Okay, so far this morning things worked out fairly well. So I don't remember what order I did everything in initially. I think the first thing I did do was come by and cut off all the old 1/2-inch anchor bolts that were here. Now some of the ones that were in these blocks that I replaced didn't need to be cut off because those blocks have all been replaced, but here's one here and all. So I used my metal cutting blade on an angle grinder, and that worked out pretty well. So I got those all. First I had to remove the nuts and washers, so I got those all set. Pretty happy with that. That worked out well. The next thing I believe I did do was I used my my self-leveling rotary laser to go ahead and see what the difference is in the height of the top of the blocks relative to the concrete supports, the bases that I poured and all. And that looks pretty good. Is it perfect? No, but this was never perfect to start out with. I'm real happy with all the blocks that have been replaced, the anchor bolts that are in there. I'll have double sills on here, so a pressure treated bottom plate and a spruce fir or Douglas fir plate on top of that. That will be attached to all of the 16 on center 2x6s here as well. So this will be a 10-foot wall right here, a 10-foot tall wall. And one of the anchor bolts, so I'll drill this spot out here next to the corner and put another anchor in here to meet code. We've got to have one within 12 inches of the end there. Everything else looks to be pretty good. So after going through and all, the next thing I did do after getting all of the old anchor bolts out, I went through and I used my big, I'm going to call it an all-purpose bar. Nice heavy bar with almost like a chisel edge on the bottom and a hammerhead on the top. I use this all over the place. This thing's such a great tool. So it's been about 4 days since I poured these forms here. And so there's always like little ripples, as much as I try to get things smoothed out when I'm doing it. So on the edges, it'll be up a little bit. So I just took that bar and I scraped it off. If there was a bit of a mound next to the anchor bolts, I went ahead and scraped that. So I scraped those off, and that worked out pretty well. So the level was good. We got rid of the old rebar and we scraped down the high spots because here there'll be 2 2x6 walls going up here. The one on the left side here will be a 16-foot tall 2x6 wall, and the one on this side here will be a 10-foot tall 2x6 wall. So this 10-foot tall wall and this 10-foot tall wall over here will support a mono truss on this side. It's just going to look like the side of a slope in a sense. Then this 2x6 wall here will be parallel, 16-foot tall, with the inside wall here. So this is a 2x6 16-foot tall wall, 2x6 10-foot tall wall, and a 2x6 10-foot wall over here as well. So that's what we got. And so that wrecking bar goes down. It knocks off any little bits of concrete that are on the surface of the wall there. I did have to come back and grind off because I had the concrete a little bit too high right here, so I ground that down as well. So I think we're in good shape. I have a few nails to pull here. I pulled I cut off. I started pulling one of the finished nails down there, and then I just went ahead and cut those off, the rest of them. So I think we're in good shape here. Again, that's a double door right there, just like this is a double door here that goes through. So there'll be a big header on this. Remember, this is a double wall, a double door. And these will all have plywood on the surface of these as well to help with any forces whatsoever. And I may be overdoing it with the anchor bolts here, but I don't want anything to want to disrupt or pick us up when we get those high winds out of the northwest. And this is a single wide steel door here. That's a single wide door there. These are the overhead doors, and so on. Okay, there you go, gimbal, once again. So that actually went pretty well this morning for getting this stuff done. You know, we're getting close to lunchtime. I've got a few more things to do inside and all, but real happy we got this stuff done out here today. And I used the Eagle leaf blower to blow the majority of the little chips and stuff and the scrapings that I cleaned off there. So we're in good shape. Here we go. Let's see what else is going to happen today. I just don't know yet.
We've drawn our lines in the sand too deep. With angry words, it's our hearts we keep. From city streets to the open plains, we're losing the love that America claims. The flags still wave, but the colors fade when we fight for pride, not the dreams we made. It's time to listen, to heal, to mend, find the spark where our divisions end. To unite our land, we've got to change. Lay down the hate, let love rearrange. Hand in hand with a patriot's heart, build a nation where we all play a part. The screens divide us, they feed the fire, amplify the noise, drown out desire. Turn off the echo, seek truth in the fray, hear each other's stories, let judgment decay. We've got to teach our kids to dream again, not left or right, but as countrymen. From classrooms to churches, let's rewrite the tale of a country united where hope won't fail. To unite our land, we've got to change. Lay down the hate, let love rearrange. Hand in hand with a patriot's heart, build a nation where we all play a part. Stop the shouting, start the talk, find a common ground where we all can walk. Fix the schools, lift the poor, open the door for the dreams that made us America's core. Let's honor the worker, the farmer, the free, the soldier, the teacher, the you and the me. I'm a type A soul, got a fire in my chest. Always pushing forward, gotta give my very best. Not one for small talk, I keep my circle tight. Need control in my hands or know it's done just right. But life's got a way of spinning out of line. Incompetence and laziness creep up every time. I've mellowed with the years, or so I like to say. But when things go wrong, I'm still wired that way. Go with the flow, they tell me let it be. But easing up ain't as easy as it seems. I'm fighting to let go, to loosen up my grip. But this type A heart's still racing on this trip. I see the job half done, and it burns me to the core. Laziness around me, I can't take much more. I trust the ones who hustle, who give it all they've got. But if you're slacking off, I'm tying up in knots. I've learned to breathe a little, let some battles slide. But when I see that carelessness, it stirs me up inside. I'm trying to find peace, let the river take its course. But control's my anchor, and I hold it with no remorse. Go with the flow, they tell me let it be. But easing up ain't as easy as it seems. I'm fighting to let go, to loosen up my grip. But this type A heart's still racing on this trip. I'm learning to sway like a willow in the breeze, finding calm in chaos, setting my mind at ease. It's a work in progress, this softer side of me. But I'll keep on trying till my heart feels free. Go with the flow, I'm learning step by step, finding grace in moments where I used to feel the wreck. I'm easing up my hold, let the current take me slow. This type A soul still learning how to go with the flow. Yeah, I'm wired to lead, to make it all alive. But I'm finding peace in leaving some control behind. It ain't always easy, but I'm giving it a try. Type A and flowing, reaching for a calmer sky.
Well, it's been a pretty good day today. I took the afternoon and I went ahead and picked up some of the IBC plastic totes that we keep soil in, and usually I pack those full in the fall time, and then we have them in the spring for potting up plants and all. But since there wasn't too much potting up this year, there was extra, so I went ahead and put those out on the soil compost leaf mold pile. I can take these off now, I'm in the shade. And so that worked out pretty well. Then I went ahead and moved the wood chips. I took the pile that Bud had delivered recently and brought them over to Pond 5, which is completely bone dry right now. the ponds are the lowest they've been since I think all of them had been put in. Pretty bad. Pond 3 is way down too, and usually we don't see them anywhere near this depth being down so far. So it's been one hell of a drought this year, and we're not expecting any rain this week now. So I got the wood chips distributed over to pond 5. Then I use Elon, the excavator, to go ahead and smooth out the margins where I deposited the wood chips around the margin of the pond. Then I grabbed some of the soil by where the IBC totes were, and started to smooth that out some. I'll use the Hulk to finish that up, or yeah, I'll use the Hulk over there next to do that. Not going to do that today. The other thing I did do is I went down by the beaver ponds and I picked up a couple of scoops of some of the soil. So when I excavate out the ponds, I'll set aside the topsoil, and I use that topsoil that was piled up and deposited where I removed a couple of trees. So there were holes up in the third food forest, so I just filled in a couple holes up there. So that went well. Then after parking Elon, I ran into the twins, the Fawns, and a bit concerned about them. Yeah, usually this time of year they're still a family unit in September, and it's been 3 days now that I haven't seen the mother with them. So you know, they're cute little buggers. One of them probably was within 25-30 feet of me, and I'll show some footage in here of the fawns. So I hope they look to be in good health. They do spook, so that's good. So they don't need to be nursing, but it's always good to have mom around and all. But she isn't there, and that's concerning. So something happened to mom. So anyways, it's been a good day. My daughter Sabrina came by this afternoon and has been harvesting, airplane again, harvesting apples. Got a bunch of bins of apples set. Lori came by. She was transporting her because they have to use the car for transportation and all. So that was really good to see my daughter and granddaughter. Really good. And I think that's about it. I'm pretty happy with how things worked out today. It's always nice to see family. Really, really nice. And usually I just stick in the mud here, do what I got to do, and all. I did contact Tom in Amsterdam, New York, where the trailer is, and so that's in. So maybe Thursday or Friday I'll go and pick that up. Looking forward to that. So that's it for today's video, folks. Appreciate you watching. Stay safe and take care. Bye-bye now.